What's up, Raiders? Today we're going to talk about how to take down Assault of the Zaqali in Aberrus the Shadowed Crucible raid in Dragonflight. This is a 3-phase boss fought across 3 different platforms. You're going to have to split your raid up 50-50 when the boss reaches about 80% health, each going to a separate platform and taking on groups of ads that come out. The boss is going to keep showing up and bouncing back and forth between the 2 platforms as you're constantly dealing with waves and waves of ads, stopping any of them from getting to the door. When the boss reaches 25% health, he'll jump to the middle and begin healing. The whole group has to group up on him and then stop him on his final assault. Throughout the fight, raiders have to avoid Aberrus fire. There's going to be massive red swirls all around the arena. You're going to have to make sure you do not get hit by these. They're a lot of damage. Also, wherever the boss is at is this huge cone on the tank. This is a increasing stacking damage increase taken effect. You want to make sure as few raiders get hit as this by possible, ideally only the tanks, and not too many stacks on each tank. After the initial phase, the attack will also drop some brown swirls around the map that you have to avoid taking damage from. After about 27 seconds, the boss runs in the middle and jumps onto his mount, and the group has to split halfway across onto each of the different platforms and begin fighting these ads. It'll start off with these big channeling mystics, which you have to break the shield of to stop it from doing constant AoE damage, and then interrupt all of its casts. At the same time, a bunch of these wall climbers are going to jump up. The tank has to pick these up. Anybody that should help the tank get threat on these, because if no threat gets grabbed on them, they're going to run towards the door and begin the breach. The breach is the main mechanic of this boss, and if you get even one breach on heroic, you're probably going to get a wipe. The last 2 creatures in this fight are going to be the guards and the huntsmen. Both come up at around the same time. The huntsmen are going to focus on a random couple of raid members and put circles on them and then throw a spear at those locations. You need to spread those people out to make sure the spears only hit the targets that have the arrows. Guards are going to do this roar effect that the healers have to heal through, as well as they're going to turn to a random target and shoot out a beam of magma towards that target that people just have to sidestep out of. So while you're dealing with the chaos that is this boss, he is eventually going to jump onto your platform, putting a big circle in the middle, and then, after a short duration, smashing down and sending out swirl lines radiating out from his smash point. You gotta avoid that damage and then start dealing with the boss's mechanics. That's mainly just going to be that smash on the tank that's going to add the increased damage taken effect. It's also going to drop swirls you have to avoid, and then those swirls are going to drop little rocks. We're going to see that here. So the swirls show up, and then when they land, rocks appear. This is the key to this phase. Players are going to have to pick up these rocks and walk to the edge and find enemies that are climbing up the side of the pillar and then throw the rock at them. That will kill that enemy and make sure that they can't get up to the top. You need to utilize these rocks to take out the priority targets like the guards and make sure that it's a lot easier to deal with all of the incoming targets that you're going to have to deal with. If any of these guys get through, it is a wipe. So there's a lot of target control that you're going to need to handle in this fight. If rocks don't get dealt with effectively, you're going to get so many ads, and it's going to be an absolute nightmare. Make sure to be holding healer cooldowns for events like this, where a magma ad comes up while 2 more wave spawns have happened. There's just so much damage going on, your healers are going to need to keep the entire raid up through a lot of damage. Cleaving onto the boss is really important because when he gets to 25% is when this phase ends. So you need to make sure that there's some focused damage going on the boss and that he's getting taken down on whichever side that he's currently on. And then when he's not there is when you focus harder on the AoE DPS to take out the ads. Upon reaching 25%, he's going to run to the middle and everybody has to follow him there and deal with the new phase. During this transition, the boss is going to be channeling into his Phoenix and healing up quite a bit of health. You can freely nuke onto him, and it definitely helps to get as much damage onto him here as possible while he's vulnerable. Bring any ads from your side over to this area to make sure that you can cleave them down while still dealing with the boss's health pool. The tank buster in this phase becomes a lot more fiery. It puts a red circle around each player, and then little missiles will land on each person. You need to spread out and make sure no extra damage is taken. He'll occasionally focus on the wall and then charge at it and do a massive slam. This can be soaked by as many raiders as possible and reduces how much damage the wall takes from his hit. If the wall takes too much damage, it begins a breach, which is a massive amount of damage. The tank with the debuff should probably avoid soaking the mechanic, as the increased damage taken can be significant. Healers throughout this phase are going to have to deal with Ignara's Fury, which is just radiating damage on the raid the entire time. This is going to be a huge amount of healing necessary and is really going to drain up your mana resources. Once you've managed to deal with these few mechanics here, you're able to easily take down Assault of the Zaqali and this Warlord. I hope this guide helped you and your raid take out this boss on heroic difficulty.